Hello, everyone. It's such an honor for me to be here. I sincerely appreciate this opportunity provided by Oslo Freedom Forum. My name is Grace, and my father, Gao Zhisheng, he is a human rights lawyer that was imprisoned until 2014. You can read a lot about him and his work on the internet, but today I don't want to talk about the man that I widely known. I want to talk about the man that only I know as a daughter. As growing up, I actually didn't get to see him very often. My mom would take me to his office once or twice a week. I remember his office were always full of people. Some were on wheelchairs, some were on crutches, some were weeping. I was only 4 at that time, so I wasn't understand what was going on, but I was pretty sure that my dad was using his superpower to help those people in need. During my visit, my dad would pat me on my head and exchange a few words with my mom before he rushed back to his office and leaving us hanging at the lobby. My dad was so dedicated with people he helped. One of his clients was a veteran, Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen had a car accident, and his doctor accidentally left a piece of medical gauze in his body, which resulted in horrific consequence. He tried for 2 years to sue the hospital, but he couldn't succeed due to corruption. Finally, he reached to my dad, who was able to help him to win the case. After that, he kept in touch with us for years. One day, he called my dad and said, "I lost my bicycle." My dad sent him the money to purchase a new one without second thought. My dad had a chronic back pain that would come and go. As a kid, I was hoping him to be in pain so that he would stay at home for a few days and I could spend time with him. But my dreams were always crushed. He was so devoted to his clients that he would still go to his office and lay down there, continue seeing clients from all over the country. I once asked my father, "Why are you so committed with your work?" And he answered, "In a country where laws has been trampled by power, lawyers are powerless. People came to me because they have not yet completely lost hope. Even though I can't change their fate, but by listening their sorrows and offering my understanding, compassion, empathy, and respect, that it's meaningful work." Most of my father's clients were pro bono. I remember the story of Zhou Weiyi. As you can see, that's the kid in the picture. He lost his hearing when he was only 3 months old due to medical malpractice. After 6 years of trying to get the hospital to take responsibility for this accident, his family almost gave up. Then they reached out to my dad. Over a course of a year, my dad and his assistant was traveling between Xinjiang and Liaoning several times on their own expense. Finally, he was able to win the case that the family deserved. After that, he sent money to this family on child's birthday and holidays. In return, his grandmother loved my dad as if he were her own son. 2006, when my dad was kidnapped, this elderly woman took overnight train to Beijing. She stood outside of our apartment and holding a picture of my father, yelling out his name again and again, until finally, please ask her to leave. Sorry, get a little lost. My father's clients, most of my father's clients, they were most mistreated and vulnerable people in China. All my life, he was helping them with all his energy and might. Unfortunately, this made him a target of the government. I was constantly lived in a fear of losing him. And often I woke up with the sound of my mom weeping. At one point, We were under 24-hour surveillance. There were 8 police officials lived in our home at all time. They literally watched us eat and sleep. They even watched me shower. Another group of 8 police officials followed me to school every day. They beat me up sometimes in front of other students. Not to mention, all my students at my school, all the students at my school warned not to talk to me. Otherwise, their parents will be jailed, just like my father. People started to avoid me as if I have some kind of contagious disease. And eventually, I wasn't even able to go to school. I have nightmares from the trauma. And I even started to resenting my father. One day, I was up late. I refused to sleep because I want to make sure that my father was home safe. And when he finally walked through doors and found me sitting on the floor, his eyes welled up. I begged him, "Please, devote yourself to us. I want a father. I want a normal life like other girls." He was quiet for a long moment. With tears running down, he said, "Please, give me a few more years and then I will be the light of our family." Every time, when I look back to that moment, I feel guilty. I was too young to understand the sacrifices he made. I was too young to realize the greater good he was fighting for. January 9, 2009, that was the last day our family ever together. That morning, I woke up and I sensed an intense atmosphere, as if someone was going on a long journey but no one was packing. Then I found my father was holding my younger brother tightly. Then he did the same to me and to my mom. Suddenly I realized, oh, that's us. We will be separated. And this time might be forever. We cried in each other's arms. That was the last time I saw my father. Later that day, my mom took me and my younger brother flee from China, started our long journey as political refugees. And eventually, we ended up in America. In my father's new book, Stand Up 2017, Stand Up China, he described his perspective of what happened after we left. He went back to the empty apartment. He put our sleepers outside of our bedroom. He refused to enter the bedroom for days to avoid the fact that we were no longer there. Later that year, he was arrested. During 8 years of imprisonment, he was physically tortured, deprived of food, and kept in a solitary confinement for a long period of time. He was released 2014, but until today, he's still under house arrest. He lost all of his teeth due to the torture, and until right now, we still have very limited contact with him. Recently, I received a letter from my father. He wrote, "I have indeed suffered. The worst was not the physical torture, but the gut-wrenching cold I suffered while being locked up in the basement of a military camp in the dead of winter. The penetrating and all-consuming cold was above and beyond any type of torture. Yet, more miserable is the longing and the guilt I have toward my wife and my 2 children. Their suffering causes me unbearable pain. It was very unfortunate for them to be born in this country. They are more unfortunate for them to have me as a father. The pain I have caused them It's something that I will never be able to erase. There are tens of thousands of families like ours in China. 8 years has passed since my own escape. But China's situation has become even more worrisome. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of all the child has lost their family members on the hands of Chinese government. As a victim, as a refugee, as a daughter, I ask you, please do not ignore the tragedies committed by Chinese government. Please do not ignore the human rights abuses committed by Communist Party. Please do not stay silent. Thank you for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker will be translated. Please use your headsets.